Eminem boasts one of the longest running rap careers in the genre's history. Having made as many songs as he has said many outlandish things and outright unbelievable statements. But what if we took him at his word? Today, we're going to be going over Eminem's first album and power scaling him off the statements in the tracks, taking anything and everything he says and applying some real world logic to gauge how strong this hypothetical Eminem would be and what kind of powers he would possess. Let's get into it. So right away with the first track on the album, Eminem already begins to establish some pretty insane scaling for him. At 50 seconds in, he claims this. It's hard to fully anticipate the meaning of this statement, but for now, we will just note that he can potentially clone himself, or is simply a demonstration of some sort of invulnerability. And if further evidence down the line confirms this, we can simply use it as concrete evidence. Then only a few seconds later, we once again get a pretty notable statement from Slim. With this in mind and not having any speed of the slap to go off of, we can gauge it at a number of around 3,000 to 5,000 newtons of force using this math here. Toward the end of the song at 3 minutes and 15 seconds in, he claims this. I lay awake and strap myself in the bed with a bulletproof vest on and shoot myself in the head. Bang! Slim here recalls a feat of him actually having survived a bullet to the brain. Insane stuff already. Alright, skipping a few tracks to the next feat, we come to the brain damage track. Here we get a pretty interesting feat that may give credence to the last feat he just got. At 2:45 in the track, Slim says this. This gives concrete evidence that Eminem can, in fact, survive and function relatively without a brain. The concept of his invulnerability will be further elaborated on when we get down to other tracks, but for now, this is what we got. Next song we got is Role Model. First statement on this track comes in at 25 seconds in, where Slim Shady says this. Once again, just some more evidence backing up Slim Shady's superhuman-like PSI output, adding credence to him having abnormally high lifting and striking strength, concreted by the examples we just went over. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, he then claims this. How the fuck can I be white? I don't even exist. This may be explored more down the line, but for now, we got circumstantial evidence at best that Eminem exists on a different plane of some sort. Just a few seconds later, at 1 minute and 25, Eminem claims this. This simply gives us more evidence to support some immortality that Slim may possess. Moving on to the next song, we get a couple more feats from Slim in this one. Starting off at 1 minute and 55 in the track, Just Don't Give a Fuck, Slim says this. It's hard to exactly pinpoint what we can glean from this, but taking it at face value, Eminem has the ability to transform into a Gundam-type robot, averaging at a size of around 60 to 100 meters if we are taking the average Voltron height. They also come equipped with a number of weaponry, as well as being highly durable. If we take the higher scaling of Voltron as an example, Eminem would have small star plus destructive capacity, attack potency, and durability, as well as being faster than light. At 2:36, Eminem then claims this. For now, we can only speculate on what exactly this means, but hopefully it will be more further explained down the line. For now, Eminem, Certified Demon. Next track we got is I'm Shady, and the first and only statement we get here is at 1 minute and 20 seconds in, where Eminem says this. This is just more additive evidence to support former claims about some invulnerability or immortality that Eminem possesses. We then get a single statement on the track Still Don't Give a Fuck, but it is very notable, where at 1 minute and 55 seconds in, Shady raps this. This gives us a few things here. Firstly, going off Slim's size being fairly average and scaling that up to the size that would be able to fit Earth in his palm, meaning it would be around 355 million feet tall. And the feat of him crushing Earth in his palm would calculate to a staggering 2.24 times 10 to the 19 newtons of force, which I literally can't put into words or numbers how big of a number that is. As you just saw with the math on screen, I actually got this wrong. The force would just be the gravitational binding of Earth, which would be around 2.49 times 10 to the 32 joules of energy, even higher than I said before. Moving on to the next track, Bad Meets Evil, we won't be counting Royce's statements on here, although if we were, he would have some decent scaling himself. First statement from Slim happens at around 40 seconds in, where he says this. A simple but notable statement of some sort of levitation that Slim can pull off. Possibly flight if more explored down the line, and in the same bar, Slim says this. I'm not a real person, I'm a ghost trapped in a beat. This may be what Slim was referring to when he said he wasn't real, and I believe this is what he meant. Eminem is claiming here to be some sort of specter that can't die, hence the many instances of him surviving what should be life-changing, if not life-ending, circumstances. This is most likely just an innate ability that ghosts share, and here we get confirmation of Slim at least having 2 or more ghost-like abilities. About a minute later, Slim claims this. Cold enough to make the seasons change in the freezing rain. It's kind of hard to determine what type of conclusion we can get from this, but to be able to even displace, say, a summer day that is 90 degrees and change the climate into a freezing rain, you would require anywhere from around 1500 terajoules all the way up to 150,000 terajoules, which is around 3600 times the energy of the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The range being this vast because this math is way too hard for my slow brain and ChatGPT was no help. The final track we got is As the World Turns, where we get our final statement from M at 3 minutes and 35 seconds in, where he raps this. Go, go, gadget dick, whip that shit out and ain't no doubt about it. It hit the ground, caused an earthquake and power outage. A funny but notable feat here. Eminem's package, so to say, would be exerting potentially a 5 to 6 on the earthquake scale, which is typically the level where you begin to see power outages, meaning it would be exerting roughly 4,466,000,000,000, which could easily level entire cities. And there you have it. That was our final feat from this album. From what we can gather, at Slim's average, he has a consistent striking and lifting strength of around 1,000 to 2,000 newtons of force, and reaching higher levels around 3,000 to 5,000 in other circumstances. We see on the higher end of the scaling from his large form as well as his Voltron-like state, we get much higher scaling than thought before, like celestial body destruction ranging from small planet to small star levels. The durability of Slim would also follow the small star level pattern, once again if you are taking the Voltron statement at face value. And the speed would also be highballed to faster than light. There's also quite a bit of bizarre hacks-like abilities that Eminem may possess. He has invulnerability, bare minimum, and most likely has immortality. He also exists on the astral plane, so to say, meaning he doesn't exist on the same dimension as you and I, but has the power to interact with both somehow. And from what we have gathered, we have not seen an upper limit to how far this immortality goes. TDLR, Slim Shady from this album would scale to small star level plus, having faster than light speeds and immortality, as well as existing on multiple dimensions, all at its most highball from the statements we get on this album. But yeah, that's the video. Thank you for finishing if you did. This was a silly video my friend I Don't Know Blaine helped out with, so if you wouldn't mind going and showing them some love on their new videos, it would make both of our days. I plan on going through another few albums if people enjoy this enough, maybe make it a series. But for now, that's all I had to talk about. Thanks for watching and yeah, take care.